Greetings one and all. I am working on a new video series called 10 CSS frameworks in 10 minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 10 of the most popular frameworks for CSS. And each video in the series is going to spend 10 minutes on one framework. I'm going to explain the HTML in here on this one. So this is going to be longer than 10 minutes. Don't hold me to that. But I will set a timer when we go. I'm going to prepare for the video ahead of time. The first thing I want to point out is we have a nav. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a class while we're at it. And then our UL, we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to give you a few things here. I'm going to give myself and you, if you're going to follow along, a few things to kind of get ready. I'm going to save my changes here. And try to get this all set up to go. We've got our typography and little header twos to target these. We have we have some headers, some paragraphs. We got grids where you can see we're going to make 2 responsive half-width grids. We're going to do a left and right column of 40%, 60%, and then 3 evenly spaced divs. There's any number of combinations we can do. If you look here, I just set up as just nested divs. That's all I did. All right, so we're going to use that as our reference. And then we did an ordered list, a numbered list, and a nested unordered list. And we have tables. And on here, we'll scroll down just a little bit. And we just have it row by row, TRs. We have THs for our headers at the beginning. And then a series of cells. And then we have a couple different types of buttons, so you know. We have now all of these, I put a button inside of a paragraph on each one of these. And I have a button with a button that says press me. I have one that's just using a hyperlink because a lot of frameworks let you style a hyperlink like a button. So we're going to see if that works. And then we're going to do basically a disabled one where it says don't press this to see how quickly it takes us to get that. And then, of course, we got forms. And we're just going to go off of what we have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to go about this. I'm going to save my changes. So if you go to this link, I'm going to post it on the comment section or the description. And you can actually go here and you can make a copy of it and you can just follow along if you'd like. So the first thing we're going to do is go to CSS. Oh, no, before we do that, you're going to want to go to this link. You're going to want to get an account on CodePen. It's codepen.io. And you're going to want to log in. Then you're going to go to my link here and you're going to click fork. When you click on fork, it's going to make a copy of this. So we're going to go ahead on here. And I'll even put, let's call it Bootstrap. Okay, so we got our Bootstrap. I'm going to save my changes. And I think we're about ready. The first thing I'm going to do is click on this gear next to the CSS. And I'm going to type in here, Bootstrap. And it's technically Twitter Bootstrap, they call it on here. I'm going to save my changes. And the first things first, we can see all of this. So before I start the timer, I just want to walk you through and just see what we see here. Grids doesn't really show anything. Lists look nice. Nested lists look nice. Tables already got a little bit of style, not a lot of padding. Buttons look like buttons, a little bit bigger. This looks a little weird. And then we have a drop down and little area thing here. But all in all, there's not a lot of styles applied. So let me go ahead and start the timer in just a moment. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now that I'm done doing that, let's see what I came up with. The first thing is we did a nav bar. To get the nav bar, I actually had to do a lot of CSS. So let's talk about it. The outer nav has a class of nav bar, space nav bar light, space nav bar expand MD. And I played around with that one, trying to figure out how to get it to display horizontally. And that it was that expand MD, I believe. MD stands for medium. So if you get narrow, it drops down like that. There are other nav bar styles that I didn't have time to go into because it was so intensive of adding this. So inside of a nav is a UL. Inside of the UL is as a class of nav bar dash nav. And then LI, I added this after the fact. Sorry, you didn't see this originally, but I thought I'd put the first link be a link to Bootstrap. And then it has this class equals nav item active, href equals, and it's linking to it, has a class of nav link. All the LIs have a class of nav item. Oh, that says nav link. Oh, because that's my hyperlink. And all the links have nav link as a class. So it took a lot to sort of get that nav bar looking. It would have been cool had I been able to just add a nav bar class and have it just go be a responsive one. That is, I think, you're adding a lot of clutter in your classes. I'm not a fan of that. Typography, we didn't have to do anything. You usually don't because it's just what the typography is. You can always overwrite it on your CSS. Let's take a look at the grids. It's a little hard to see this, so I'm going to add some CSS. I'm going to put all divs in the row. It's going to have a background of gray and then a border on it. Interestingly enough, and I might have done something wrong with this column here, I did have to add some additional divs. That slowed me down because every time I wanted to start a new row, I had to add that div with the class of row. I might have been able to do that by just adding row to the beginning. I just didn't want to risk it. To do like a column break so that you can see the difference between each of these. I'll fix that so that you will see that when we do the in the one you're going to fork, it will have all that in place to make it easier to test out your grids. One weird little implementation that I think is odd is you'll notice left column, it says 40%. So let's take a look at that. Call SM. Oh, wait a minute. I know what that was. 40%. It's out of 12. So 4 is 1/3 of 12. That would be 40%. And now it works. So that was my mistake. And I forgot about how the grid system works in Bootstrap. And, you know, it would take you even longer if you didn't know that about the grid. So, you know, it's definitely worth mentioning all of that. Other than that, it is pretty nice to make them evenly spaced. And then if you notice, the big thing here was this has this call SM for small, which means it will work as a grid on small devices. So this could be like on a tablet or something, but watch the moment it gets too small and then they're all, so that's a good responsive table. That's actually good behavior. Our list, we just thought I would look to see what they look like. They look pretty decent. Tables was kind of cool. There was a lot I didn't get a chance to go into. On the table, all I had to do was give it a class of table, and that did a lot for me. And then if I had a table stripe, table dark, table this, table that, there's a lot of different options I had available. And I didn't have to touch anything else on the table. That was really nice. Let's take a look at our buttons. I was able to get what I wanted to get. I wanted to get a variety of button in their colors, and I wanted a disabled button. That took me a little bit to look for. So, oops. That's a problem there. Oh, wait. No, that was it. Sorry about that. I realized I had it right. The disabled button, you actually pass it a, this is an attribute. You pass it the disabled attribute, and then it just disables it. And I have this don't press this because it's disabled. That was the point there. That actually worked really well. The other nice thing is it was really easy to turn a hyperlink into a button. I just added a class of button in button info. In fact, check this out. I am going to try this on my nav bar. Now, let's take a look at the forms. And oops, dash row with the div. That does not look good. I'm going to get rid of that div with the class of row. So the form will not have all that background. Yeah, there we go. This one did. Anything with a class of row, I'm just going to remove from this. So I don't know why I left it that way. And apparently there's more classes of row. Now it should be good. Let's click on forms. Text area. Apparently I did it on there too. So that is something. I would normally not, wouldn't be good to start off with any classes anyway. So forms, I could get that looking better if I had more than 10 minutes. All right, well, that's it for Bootstrap. That's just what I can do in 10 minutes. As you can see, it's not too terribly difficult to get that working. So in my next tutorial, we're going to take a look at Foundation. Foundation, I think it's a very interesting framework to look at. Oh, by the way, when this gets all ugly, you have this nice little tidy HTML. So stay tuned for my next installment of CSS frameworks, 10 frameworks in 10 minutes each, in case you didn't figure that one out. Stay tuned for more.